Jake Paul and Mike Tyson now have been suspended from boxing after controversial fight in Texas.
This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today. A fake script has been going around that said Mike Tyson will get KO'd in round 5.
Mike Tyson's career has officially been dealt a knockout blow following a court ruling that not only bans him from boxing for life, but also adds further consequences. While headlines focus on his emotional reaction to the decision, it's worth pausing before rushing to feel too sympathetic.
Many are upset over the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, with some people claiming that it was rigged because many people bet a lot of money and they lost a lot of money.
They also lost a lot of money on him. This is the same guy who hyped himself up with those so-called training videos, going full beast mode, busting his coach's lip and cracking sparring partners' ribs like it was nothing. But when it came to the actual fight against Jake Paul, Tyson looked like he was just there to drag out the rounds for show.
Everyone is talking about how staged this fight was. I do believe it was scripted. What? And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. What? Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record and it was sanctioned. What? So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? Bruh. For what? For your own personal satisfaction?
Sure, Jake's antics are a circus of their own, but let's stay focused. Tyson let us down. Fans who believed in him cheered for him and thought he still had it left betrayed. Now it's official. Trust shattered, career over.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script. How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It's just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously
two-
odd.
No, he fights two no names, beats them both.
What exactly did he do to end up in this mess? Let's break it down, because no one else seems willing to tell the real story.
The whole thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab. And for a lot of us that love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy, and we didn't like what we saw.
This time, it wasn't about reclaiming titles or proving he was still the undisputed king of boxing. No, on November 15, 2024, it was about something deeper, or at least that's what we were led to believe. At 58 years old, Mike Tyson wasn't just stepping into the ring. He was trying to convince the world, and maybe himself, that the fire from his glory days still burned strong. The stage? A Netflix mega event hyped as Asterisk, the fight of the decade Asterisk. The opponent? Jake Paul, a guy who went from pulling pranks on his neighbors for YouTube views to somehow trading punches with boxing royalty. The build-up was nothing short of electric. Tyson wasn't just training for a fight. He was on a full-blown PR blitz that had fans salivating. Footage of him in the gym showed absolute fury, punching bags exploding under his strikes, his movements sharp and powerful, almost like a man half his age. All the while, he growled phrases like asterisk age is just a number asterisk, fueling the belief that Iron Mike was still a force to be reckoned with.
Once he's in that ring, you have to fight like his life is dependent on it, because it will be.
I truly believe that there's a lot of people who, see me as an arrogant ass, which I can be sometimes, but I'm just having fun and entertaining the world.
And you know what? For a moment, we believed him. Analysts were glued to their screens, Twitter turned into a Tyson love fest, and even the skeptics couldn't resist tuning in to see if the old lion still had his roar. On paper, it had everything. The raw power of a boxing icon against the brash confidence of a Gen Z sensation. It was nostalgia colliding with modern spectacle, and everyone wanted to witness it.
It was supposed to go like this. The opening bell rings and Tyson, showing flashes of his old form, immediately stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style. Paul maintains distance, circling the ring cautiously. Tyson lands a few jabs, but Paul's youth shows in his superior ability.
Then fight night arrived, and the buzz quickly gave way to an awkward silence. The atmosphere was electric as Tyson entered the ring stoic as ever, while Jake Paul soaked up the spotlight like he just won an Oscar. The first bell rang and fans leaned forward, waiting for Tyson to charge in like the unstoppable force he once was, to remind the world why he was called Asterisk Iron Mike Asterisk. But that moment never came. Instead, we saw a Tyson who was cautious, defensive, dare I say, timid. Something was clearly off.
I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically. I don't have the stomach for this kind of no more. I'm more conscious of my children and those guys looking at my appearance. I don't have that ferocity. I'm not an animal.
By round 2, it wasn't just a hunch anymore. Something was undeniably wrong. Tyson, the man who used to bulldoze his way through legends, was now sidestepping punches like he was dodging a parking ticket. Sure, there were glimpses of the old Tyson. Sharp jab here, a cheeky hook there, but they felt more like faint echoes than the thunderous blows of his prime. Meanwhile, Jake Paul asterisk of all people, was gaining confidence. He started throwing calculated punches, landing combos, and, shockingly, looking good. And no, that's not a compliment, it's an indictment. By round 3, the writing was on the wall. Tyson looked gassed, his punches lacked their signature power, and his footwork was more like someone fumbling in the dark. Sensing the chance of a lifetime, Jake went all in, or as all in as Jake Paul can go. The crowd's energy shifted. Cheers turned to murmurs, which soon gave way to something worse, disappointment. When the final bell rang, the judges didn't even hesitate. Jake Paul was declared the winner by unanimous decision. Let that sink in. A YouTube kid had just beaten a heavyweight legend.
This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today. A fake script has been going around that said Mike Tyson will get KO'd in round 5, but that one was clearly not real or an older script.
The fallout from this fight was brutal. Fans who had idolized Tyson for decades weren't just disappointed, they felt outright cheated. Social media exploded, and not in a good way. Some defended him, saying, asterisk, come on, he's almost 60, cut the man some slack. Asterisk, others were far less forgiving, arguing he had no business stepping back into the ring at all. Then came the conspiracy theorists, whispering that the whole thing might have been staged, and honestly, it's hard to blame them, because let's face it, the whole thing did feel a little too convenient.
Round 2, Tyson comes alive, but his breathing grows heavier. Round 3, Paul gains confidence and lands a sharp right that stuns Tyson. That's exactly what happened.
Whatever the truth, one thing was painfully clear. Tyson's legacy took a serious hit that night, and not just in the ring. For decades, he had embodied raw, unstoppable power, a symbol of dominance. Now he seemed like something else entirely, a man who stayed too long at the party. The sting of that fight wouldn't just linger for Tyson, but for everyone who, even for a moment, believed the old lion could still rule the jungle. And here's something you might not know. Just hours before the highly anticipated Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, a suspicious little document started making the rounds on Twitter.
Round 4 and 5, the fatigue sets in strong for Tyson and Jake is landing a bunch of hits. Round 6, Jake showboats, which is the tongue thing he did here. Then on round 7, Jake plays it safe to not KO Mike. And round 8 wins by decision and bows at the end. This is crazy.
At first glance, it looked like just another internet conspiracy theory. But this wasn't some random fanfiction. Oh no, this was a leaked script. Yes, an actual script that outlined every move of the fight, from Tyson's early defensive stance to Paul's calculated jabs, all leading to Paul's win by, you guessed it, unanimous decision. If that wasn't spicy enough, the script even included Tyson's post-fight excuse, where he'd blame his poor performance on age and fatigue. Supple, right?
Friend Mike Tyson tweeted that he almost died over the summer. He said, he had a bunch of blood transfusions, just had to fight to get healthy, and then his performance yesterday against Jake Paul. Just your thoughts on what we saw.
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong.
Fast forward to fight night, and wouldn't you know it, the fight played out like it had been lifted straight from the script. Tyson started off cautiously, barely throwing punches, looking more like a chess player than a boxer. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, brimming with the kind of confidence only someone who's never been hit hard enough could have, began landing punches exactly as the document had predicted. By the third round, the déjà vu was undeniable. Every key moment, every shift in momentum, played out like a scene from a Netflix drama. By the time the final bell rang, Tyson looked defeated, and Jake Paul was basking in his scripted glory. As for the fans, they were furious.
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson now have been suspended from boxing after controversial fight in Texas. Now, why, you may ask? Now, I didn't know this, okay?
Social media exploded, but not in the fun, meme-worthy way. Asterisk, we paid for a fight, not a live-action soap opera. Asterisk, one fan raged, while hashtags like hashtag Howard Tyson, hashtag Paul's Calm, and hashtag scripted fight shot to the top of the trending charts. The betrayal wasn't just about the fight itself, it was about trust. This was Mike Tyson, the man who symbolized raw, unfiltered power, now accused of starring in boxing's equivalent of a reality show. The backlash was swift and brutal, with fans and pundits alike demanding answers.
Just got Netflix sued. People got a big problem with this stream cut.
And answers they got. Just days later, the Nevada State Athletic Commission launched an official investigation into the fight. Netflix, which had been reveling in the glory of record-breaking viewership numbers, suddenly found itself in the crosshairs. Whispers about backroom deals and shady financial incentives began leaking, implicating Netflix's head of live sports programming, Nikia Biden, and her team. It turns out the fight wasn't pitched as a legitimate boxing event. It was marketed internally as Asterisk Boxing meets Entertainment Asterisk. Because apparently, sportsmanship is so last season.
A 28-year-old kid who, used to be a YouTuber, and he's worked hard to learn boxing. He really has. He's come along. But really, he's still not